howdy there, Bronco fans. That wonderful time of year when they got through the NFL Combine, Chris. A lot of excitement in the air. Free agency rolling out this week, followed by the draft. The Broncos, pretty darn good team last year, all right? So we don't have to change the world here. We got to just fill in some gaps. So let's talk a little bit today about, in our opinion, who we think the Broncos should fill those gaps with. Let's start on the offensive side of the ball, Chris. What do you think Denver needs? Biggest needs?
Biggest needs, I think you and I both played a lot of baseball growing up. You always used to talk about building that team up the middle, catcher, shortstop, center field. I think the way you address free agency in the draft is proximity to the ball. And for me on the offensive side, it's got to start shoring up that interior line. I say you go after an offensive guard, somebody that's versatile, that can play both sides, maybe even fill in at center. We weren't exactly healthy on that interior. Manny Ramirez, bless his heart, we need an upgrade there. We've got to upgrade at the interior offensive line.
And when Cooper's healthy, I mean, there's nothing better, a solid player, but, you know, he's been banged up 2 seasons in a row. Ramirez just not getting it done. So I'm with you on guard, but what guards out there got your attention from the free agency standpoint?
On the free agent side, 2 guys I think that are real interesting from the New York Giants. Kevin Booth played some guard, also played some center, which the versatility would come in very handy. And from the Chargers, Luis Vasquez, who had a great season last season. He's about to become very wealthy. Not sure if that's the kind of acquisition that the Broncos are after, paying that kind of money.
Yeah, I know. I agree with you. Now, they have an opportunity to go in the draft and get a guard as well. I mean, one that's showing up in the first round, I don't think has any chance of sliding down to the Broncos. But if he did, another Cooper, I think it's Jonathan Cooper from North Carolina, is a great guard that could really help out this Broncos team. Then you use Cooper, J.D. Walton coming back, hopefully gets healthy, you know, see what Phillip Blake can do, who really kind of sat in the bleachers last year. So I think guard's important. Now, that's what's your next position?
Well, you and I, we kind of went back and forth here. You were a big Eddie Lacy guy.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, I would be really nervous. And to be honest, I'd be disappointed if that first round, I know it's a late round pick, but if that first round pick is a running back, I'm going to be disappointed. I think there's so many other needs. I see the need at running back, but I think the way the league has gone, so few teams now that are a one-back guy, I think that can be addressed, a journeyman free agent, and I think we've got to address the wide receiver slot. I think Stokely comes back. To your point, he was already retired once. I think he did overachieve last year. But given his relationship with Manning, I think as long as he wants to play, he's going to have a spot. So do you spend the money on a slot receiver, knowing that he's going to maybe split time or be mentored? There's some names out there in free agency. Austin Collie. Yep. Who has a rapport already with Manning, but the concussion issues. Danny Amendola, obviously from the Rams, is out there. Shoot, Wes Welker's out there. Yeah. If you really want to start to speculate.
Well, here's what I think of Wes Welker. Why go Wes Welker when you can go in the draft, second round? You would definitely have to move up into the third round. I know you're a fan of his. Love Ryan Swope. Of all the people out in that the Broncos could get this year, I love this guy. 4.34, 40-yard dash in the combine. But all you got to do is watch his highlight reel. This kid is gritty, and he's someone that would help the Broncos for years and years. Wes Welker, kind of on the tail end of thing. And I do like Lacy. I would be surprised if the Broncos win a first-round draft and get Lacy, but I just know John Fox. I know he's locked in. He's got his tunnel vision. He wants somebody that's going to hit the hole. There isn't a running back in the draft that hits the hole better. Sure. I actually would rather see him go after someone like Stephon Taylor from Stanford a little bit later and get a running back. But you know how it was when Shanahan was here. Shanahan got all locked in on offensive players, forgot about the defense. I don't think John Fox can keep his eyes off a Lacy-type player. And look at our running backs. Moreno and Willis McGahee, old guys, right? Well, Moreno's not old, but he plays like he's old. Those guys are nowhere to be found when we needed them in the playoffs. I think you need some young legs, and I just don't think they get past John Fox's mentality of running back.
A kid who I think probably is their third, maybe even fourth round is Monty Ball out of Wisconsin, who had just a phenomenal collegiate career, never put the ball on the ground. That kind of runner hits the hole. I think it's a position that needs to be addressed. I would hope it doesn't come as early as you're thinking in the first round.
And maybe by the time we get done with this show, the Broncos already have picked up Mendenhall, who's been hurt a lot recently, and Steven Jackson. Although everybody in Denver's buzzing about it, I just keep hearing Steven Jackson's all but going to Atlanta Falcons. Yeah. But sure, I mean, who's going to complain if you got Steven Jackson on your team?
Yeah, but I was on that camp. He's a phenomenal player, and I think from everything you see about him, an even better guy, which I think Denver would appreciate. But I think at this point in his career, the miles that are on those tires, you can pick up that same production in the third or fourth, or even as Shanahan has proven, 6th round, 7th round, Alfred Morris, that kind of guy. If you had the right system, the Redskins proved you can take a guy from Florida Atlantic, stick him in there, and be on your way.
How can Shanahan could do all those 1,000-yard runners and now no Sean Moreno's gone 4 years and averaged 600 yards. So things have definitely changed in the Mile High City. All right, let's flip over to the other side of the ball. Let's talk defense for a little bit. And are you going to stay right down the middle? What are you thinking the Broncos need on defense?
Proximity to the ball, defensive tackle. I think that was probably their biggest issue on the defensive side. They've got free agents there. Likely they don't bring everyone back, so there's going to be some holes to fill. You have some flexibility. You had Wolf, who I think, if you really to sit and look at the rookie season, had a good rookie season. He's probably was undersized to play there. With the talk now of Dumervil, maybe if he's not willing to restructure the contract, who knows? Or if you throw him into a Darrelle Revis trade, maybe something like that. I could see you asking Wolf to slim down, slide him out to the edges. You've got some defensive tackles in free agency, and you've got a really, really deep draft class with defensive tackles this year.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of it this year. So many defensive tackles. We're talking about Richardson being available, Hankins. I mean, there's a lot of good, solid players. I was hoping early on that Sheriff Floyd looked really good, but he's looked so good. He's moved up. There's no way the Broncos are seeing him. So I agree. I think the Broncos make a big effort to try and get Vickerson back. I think he added some value last year. Justin Bannon, thanks for the memory. But I think those days have come and gone. And I think the defensive tackle has to be addressed, maybe both in the draft as well as free agency. Looks like the early word is the Broncos have already trying to reach out and get some defensive linemen. And let's talk Dumervil for just a second. I mean, hey, I'm a big Dumervil fan. He's made a lot of money. I think he did a great job bringing Von Miller along. But, some of the, those around Denver know that Dumervil didn't really show up at a lot of the camps. He stayed in Florida and tried to do his work there. He had a couple run-ins, the whole traffic thing last year. He had some problems with our own guard here at the stadium. And he was really productive in a 3-4 type setup. The 4-3 just seems to be sliding out, and it looks like some good defensive and free agent defensive ends that are available. Dwight Freeney, I know a lot of people are scared about that, but remember he got moved to a 3-4, didn't like it last year, wasn't real productive. But there's a lot of old guys on the defensive end side that are available as free agents.
Well, and the thing you now have with this team is what's equal to the LeBron James factor with the Heat. You've got guys towards the end of their career who are willing to take less money because they want to win a ring. And you now have that, based on some key parts on the offensive side of the ball, Broncos will be competitive. That's not we're not. Gee, I hope they make the playoffs. You're going into the 2013 season thinking, geez, are we a 1 seed or a 2 seed in the AFC? And I think that plays into your free agency and guys willing to, if you want to come to Denver, willing to take a little bit less money to get in under the cap.
Now, speaking of a little less money, maybe the Broncos are going to have to talk to guys like Champ Bailey. We know Champ Bailey, Dumervil, and Manning make up probably half the Broncos, salary. So you talk to those three guys, and maybe Dumervil goes away. You see DJ Williams and his $6 million going away.
Sure.
So what about the linebacker spot, middle linebacker? I mean, I know the Broncos are in a coverage that uses middle linebackers only 35% of the time. So probably not a high priority, but
a high priority, but one I think you could address second, third round. We look today at kids like Arthur Brown out of Kansas State, a little bit undersized when you look at your middle linebacker. He's 5'11"-ish, but really gets sideline to sideline. Alec Ogletree from Georgia is likely to be gone. Then you start even looking at like a kid like Eric Reed out of LSU, who is listed as a strong safety, but it comes and plays at 220, 230, could conceivably move down into a middle linebacker spot. So lots of ways. The defensive side of the ball in this draft is deep, and I think it's very good.
All right, let's finish out with talking about the defensive backs, both cornerbacks and safeties. What do you think is a bigger need for the Broncos?
The biggest need was Raheem Moore to play 3 yards deeper. I didn't see that coming.
Stay deep.
You know what? There are 100 variables in this question. What goes on with Revis? You know, you've got a kid like Brent Grimes at Atlanta that we believe they've been in contact with. Is he healthy coming off of the Achilles from last year? Does Champ move? You know, you can't watch that Baltimore game and say that he is a lockdown corner anymore. He's not.
Yeah. I think Elway's come out and said, hey, we're not moving Champ around, and maybe Champ called up John and says, hey, listen, I'm not doing that, but that looks like it's not going to happen. And Tony Carter on the other side, although scrappy and had some good plays, really kind of struggled and was very inconsistent at the end of the year, and so I wouldn't be surprised to see a Revis or a Grimes, someone like that. I think the Chargers got a couple defensive backs that are available, and when you look at the people coming out of college, I think you go look at a guy like Elam at safety.
Love
would be great to have, and with Vaccaro going, probably you have no shot at. I think Elam may be there, and I would love that. I have not. You guys who watch the show know that I've not been an Adams fan for a while, not a Raheem Moore fan. I would love to see Quentin Carter come back and has had at least either a free agent like a Golston out of from the 49ers or Quinn out of from the Texans. I think there's some people that can add some value, and the Broncos took a chance last year. $4 million on Tracy Porter didn't work out. All right. It was a one-year deal. Move along, and we had Florence. No, who's the guy?
Florence.
Yeah, Drayton Florence never even. I think a couple million never even made it out of camp. So I think the Broncos are willing to shore up some things. But here's the thing I want the most out of this whole offseason. Last year and the year before, the Broncos were desperate to get as many heads. They had so many holes after the McDaniels year. You had to go with quantity versus quality. And I think nowadays we've got a team that should have gone to the Super Bowl. We've got to get some quality picks. I don't care if we give away some later round picks. 2 or 3 good players, and I think we're on our way.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's this free agent class and this draft have got to be about guys that you think you can plug and play right now, because there's not a ton of holes. There's not a ton of holes, and we got to fill those holes. I think this year, because let's be honest, the window here is 2 to maybe 3 years with Manning and with this group as it's currently constructed.
Well, we'll all know here in a few days. At least we'll see the Broncos start to show their hands here as free agency approaches. But the bottom line is we had a darn good team, and we can only add to it. And we'll see how it all plays out. But we'll have all the news right here on Bronco Planet.